Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more.
Welcome back to another episode, team. So today's guest is Jim Mora, and Jim joined me from Louisiana in the US of A, and we had a phenomenal chat around financial education and financial literacy. Jim he's a branch manager of a Cardinal Finance over in the United States, and has created a hugely successful business, quadrupled his business during COVID. So a few things we discuss in this episode. Now, I just want to quickly put a disclaimer. There is no financial advice in this. He's not giving you financial advice. He's sharing things that worked well for him through his journey of creating financial wealth for himself. You know, we talk about establishing a point A for yourself, right? That baseline for where you're at. Some of the biggest financial mistakes he sees people making, what the winners did during, even 2008, but more so through COVID. Okay. We talk about the career change that forced him to work with his mind, his relationship with money and other people's relationships with money, why we want wealth, and how to really change our mindset around money. And one of probably the biggest taglines I took away from this conversation was, most people, or actually for those who are broke, you're committed to being broke. And I think it's really important to listen to how Jim sort of explains this, because I can definitely relate to that. When I was struggling financially, I was definitely committed to being broke. And even now, I'm really focused on improving my financial literacy and financial education. So there's so many nuggets in this. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the follow, and share this with a mate that you know would get huge value from it. And gents, before we dive into the episode, I want to highlight to you a program that we've had running that I haven't spoken too much about. Now, this program is called the Breakthrough Online Program. You can find out or read and watch a video on themanthatcanproject.com/breakthrough online. But it's a 6-week online course for men who want more. And the beautiful thing about this, gents, is you can do it in the comfort of your own home and work through it at your own pace, so you can fit it around your life. But we've had so many men having powerful experiences through doing this program, and I haven't really spoken too much about it. Men are just finding it going through the website. So if you're one of those men who really want to, enjoy it from the comfort of your own home and just work through it at your own pace, this is for you, right? It's got so many things. We focus on mastering the 8 areas of life, teach you how you can eliminate self-limiting beliefs, communicate with yourself and others with ease, how to start taking action towards your goals, and not just survive, but thrive, live with intention and purpose, and feel more connected to the people around you. So if you're looking to improve those things, you want to jump on board. What's included. Each week you'll get access to that new module. You'll have your own personal back end where there are 36 plus lessons delivered by myself around areas and trainings that I deliver in my workshops, and have really helped me take my life to the next level, and it's helped me help other men take their lives to the next level. And just to make sure you're really taking that information in, there is some accountability quizzes at the end of each module. So you will be held accountable to make sure that you are, learning the teachings there. So gents, that's enough from me. We're now going to dive into the episode with Jim Mora. Once again, remember, hit subscribe, like, and share, and enjoy the episode.
You're listening to the Man That Can Project with Lachie Stuart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to the Man That Can Project.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Man That Can Projects podcast. Today, I have an incredible guest, Jim Mora, who is joining us from Louisiana, formerly California, and has a abundance of knowledge and wealth a wealth of knowledge to share. And funnily enough, we'll be talking about improving your financial IQ. And Jim and I, we've been connected on Facebook for a couple of years now, but we had a great chat probably 2-3 weeks ago. And I walked away from our conversation feeling really inspired, and it opened my eyes. And we were talking about this offline earlier, Jim, just how this year is a big focus for me is improving my financial IQ and really starting to understand how to create more wealth, passive wealth, all those sorts of things, so I can live the lifestyle that I want to live and minimize stress. And you were running through a few things on our first call, and I was like, mate, I would love it if you could be a guest on the show, because how you put it is so enthusiastic and energetic, but it also just lands really well. And I know a lot of men in our community, the Man That Can Projects community, will get a heap of value from a conversation like the one we were having, and also the one that we're about to have. So thank you so much for giving up your time. I know you're an extremely busy man, but I'm excited. So how is everything going for you over there at the moment? And I'd love to hear what it's been like for you over the last couple of years, and then sort of lean into a moment in your life that sort of directed you to look into improving your finances and that sort of element of your life.
Right on. Yeah. So first, thanks for having me, man. This is totally awesome. And like I said, it's my first time, so we'll see how that goes. It was great connecting with you and watching you over the years and just seeing what you were about. And I'm like, there's a lot that I took away from it, especially from the physical side of it. And then in talking to you that day, it's like, yeah, this is what I do for a living. This is my game. This is my forte. So in January 2003, I totally switched careers from what I was doing. I was in construction. I was a project superintendent living in Vegas, building schools. And I had an opportunity approach me to do mortgages. And I'm like, I don't know the first thing about that. And a neighbor friend of mine said, you'll be great at it. I'm like, all right, why not? So I jumped in and got a mortgage license and started doing mortgages. And it was an interesting time. Things were doing really well. The economy was cooking along. Vegas was booming. Everybody was buying houses. And a couple of years into it, all of a sudden we had a massive meltdown in the United States and everything went sideways. And through all of that, I stayed in the business and stuck with it, because I'm like, I can do this no matter what. It doesn't matter what the economy does. It matters more about what I can do. So just been doing it ever since. Moved to Baton Rouge in about 2008 or 9 after the meltdown. I had to get away from Vegas. It just wasn't making any more sense. And just started getting the mortgage team together here in Baton Rouge and doing something different. We had a whole bunch of people working for us at that time, and they were all getting along in age, and they were just kind of cruising along. And we figured out if we could get people with in their 30s and bring them in and teach them how to do the mortgage business, maybe we can make something out of it. And it's been just gangbusters ever since. We have a dozen people working for us. They're all in their 30s, and they know that they get social media and they market themselves on social media. They do it in a brilliant, brilliant way. So it's been a really interesting ride since COVID. Everybody freaked out at the beginning of COVID, and we, for some reason, got incredibly busy. And just, we had a great business model going on, and then all of a sudden our production doubled, and then it tripled, and then it quadrupled. And it never slowed down. It just still to this day is cooking along at that. But what's cool is I get to see and meet people every single day and talk to them about financial literacy. And what they don't realize when they're applying for a mortgage is they're getting a lot of financial literacy. They're not just getting a home loan. I mean, anybody can do that. It's a whole different game to give people literacy in finances, because I don't know about there. Here, they don't teach it in school. Nothing.
Not here either.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't understand that. It's the most important thing in your life, and they don't teach any of it. So I guess the biggest turning point for me so far was a career change. It was when I got out of construction, got into this, stopped, working so much with my body and started working with my mind. And numbers have always been a thing. And it's weird, the correlation in because we work with inches here. It's the correlation between a tape measure in inches and interest rates. So an eighth of an inch is also an eighth an interest rate. They're all the exact same measurements. It's weird. So anyways, I know you had a couple questions. What were they?
Yeah, so I guess that sort of dives in along the way. And, you're talking about the financial literacy and the career change encouraged you to not work with your body as much, but start working with your mind. And I think that's one of the most important things. And I heard a saying the other day, investigate to invest. And a lot of people, myself included, have tried investing in the past in various things without ever doing any due diligence or understanding what that process was like. And as I mentioned to you offline before, Jim, like I've got a successful business, so it's ticking over a good profit. But now I'm going through the phase, having read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and a few other books like that, where I'm like, all right, well, how do I get my money to start working for me without obviously blowing it? Because you always hear the horror stories of a bad real estate investment or a bad whatever investment, people blow their money and it almost turns them off it. But for me, I think I have that mindset where I'm like, well, it makes sense, right, to have your your money working for you. But it's just like, how do we go about that? And I just want to quickly say as well, for anyone listening, this is not going to be financial advice, right? This is more what Jim has done in his, you always got to say these disclaimers because I don't want anyone to come back and go, Jim said this or Lachie said this. Not happening. We're just going to be two blokes sharing things that have worked well for us. And I'll be asking Jim a lot of questions around that. And then I highly encourage you to do your own due diligence, seek experts to help you out. Or if you're in the States, go see Jim. But yeah, one thing we were talking about offline and
my own,
you go.
My own experience with money really started when I did something similar to what you did, but I did it years ago. And it talked about your relationship with money. I'm like, what does that mean? So your relationship with money. What do you think about money? How does money work in your head? What are your thoughts behind money? What are your beliefs? And when I really started looking at what my beliefs were about money, number one, they were incredibly limiting. And number two, we talked about this a while ago. They're based on a 5-year-old. Basically, everything you heard as a kid growing up is what you believe about money as an adult. And we never stop and take a look at that. So it really starts with your personal relationship on money and what that looks like. So not giving any advice, not telling you how to spend your money or invest your money is absolutely true, but telling you need to get a point A. You need to look at your money and see where you're at, what's true for you.
100%. And yeah, I know for myself, like my relationship with money, even up until 2014 was terrible. I thought that, I grew up hearing money doesn't grow on tree. It's like, all right, well, if I'm not going to spend my money, I just got to save it and hold on to it. And if, it was almost scarier to lose $100 than putting in the work of actually making the $100. And that the thought, most people, I can't remember where I read it or heard it, but most people are worried about losing a $10, giving away $10 or investing $10 with the upside potentially being able to turn that $10 into $100 or even $12. So for me, like getting my head around that and being able to change the thoughts and processes was very challenging. Even to this day, as we were chatting about before, like there's still some beliefs around money that I need to overcome to understand that, maybe I was worth more than what I was getting paid at minimum wage and I could become more valuable and increase my earning potential. But then also the fact that I believed a lot of wealthy people had been given that, right? They didn't work for it. They just been given it, or they were born into a lucky family, or, I had a whole range of beliefs, and I'm sure there's a lot of people listening there at the moment thinking about some of their beliefs there. But yeah, as you mentioned, it was really getting clear on where I am, like what's my point A, and what do I need to, what beliefs do I need to change? Where can I find the information or the support or the guidance, and, what has to happen next for me to continue growing and developing. And that's when I'm really excited to have this conversation with you, Jim, again, because I know it's going to continue sparking more questions that I have inside to find the answers that I need to create the financial results that I'm looking to create.
So I think the point is great. Number one, when you start asking people about their money, people immediately get really uncomfortable. Their shame, their blame, all that stuff, all their programs start running about money. So first, start by yourself, and be really honest in this. Get out a piece of paper and write down, where am I today? How much money do I have in the bank? How much money do I owe? what are the things that I have that are assets, and be honest on the assets. It's easy to say, yeah, I paid $1,500 for that car, but it's really worth $4,000. No, be honest. If you had to sell that junker car you're driving, what's it really worth? And if you've got a new car, be honest. It's worth 20% less or more than what you paid for it. And so if you got a debt on one side for the car, you got an asset on the other side for what it's really worth. And when you really look at your assets compared to your debts, you'll see what your net worth is. Don't let it bother you. Don't let it upset you. Don't let it make you angry. Don't let it make you unhappy. Just acknowledge it for what it is. It doesn't have any inherent significance. You decide what it means. And I'm telling you, it doesn't mean anything. It is your point A. It's what you're starting from. You got to remember that. That's critical. The next thing is with acknowledging where you are, and we talked about this earlier, is you are exactly where you want to be financially today. I guarantee that is what you're committed to, 100%. And I can prove that to you because that is your result. You want to know what you're committed to? Look and see, what are my results? That's what I'm committed to. If I'm living check to check and I'm always broke, I'm committed to living check to check, and I'm committed to being broke. And jokingly, I said to you, but it's absolutely true. If you've done that for 15 or 20 years, dude, you're a rock star. You are nailing that commitment because you've stuck with it and you made it that every single month. Every one of us, it's human nature, are going to say, I want more. I want money in the bank. I want wealth. Why do you want it? What would be different or better in your life? Because at the end of the day, you can gather some wealth and get a little bit of money and then start buying a few things. And you're going to find very quickly that, I really didn't want that as bad as I thought I did. I think what it gets you more than anything else is liberty, to be able to go where you want to go, when you want to go, do what you want to do when you want to do it. And I think that's really the true key of financial liberty. And for me, it might look like $500,000. For you, it might look like $1.5 million. For another guy, it might look like $10 in the bank. It looks different for everybody, but you gotta get a point A and stop being committed to being broke and committed to living check to check. It just, there's no win in that for you. It's not working. I guarantee it. If you look at it, brings me to another part of that. I totally forgot about this, is we resist that. Well, I'm broke, but I don't want to be broke. Yeah, you do. Yeah, but I don't want to be. We have this constant struggle and fight going back and forth with that. Instead, just saying, okay, this is where I am. Once you get to peace with where you are, you can make a change and do something different. And then you got to take a look at everything you heard about money as a kid. We think about money as 5-year-olds. My parents are a great example. My dad always said, if we can't pay cash for it, you cannot have it. And my mom charged everything. So everything was put on credit cards. By the time I was 21 years old, I was up to my neck in credit card debt because I followed my mom. I listened to her lead and thought, oh yeah, you can just put it on credit, and didn't understand what the credit was and didn't understand what it meant. And it's very easy to start getting behind on things. And credit is not forgiving at all. I've seen more people who've had stellar credit and have one credit card payment late, just one, and lose 100 points on their credit score. We talked a little bit about how it works there. I cannot speak to that because I don't know what your scoring models are. But in the United States, one late payment on a credit card can tank your credit score. And the reason that's important is that when you do get credit down the road after that, that credit gets expensive. You're not going to be able to get that car at 0% interest. You're not going to be able to get that mortgage under 3%. You're going to pay heavily for bad credit. And it takes a very long time to fix it. So if you're at that point, just acknowledge where you're at. If you got bad credit, acknowledge where you're at and start looking at what you can do to fix it and make it better. If you're in the States, I'll have that conversation with you all day long and tell you how to do it. There I can't because I don't know what it looks like in your specific place. If it looks like anything in the States, you want to talk to somebody who knows what they're doing, not a credit repair person. Talk to a mortgage person. They can tell you how to fix your credit and how not to make stupid mistakes fixing it. So it's a process you go through, but unless if you want to create true liberty and true wealth for yourself, you have to get a point A and you have to change your story and your belief system behind money.
I love that. I think it's crucial, and it's definitely something that we look across all 8 areas is that point. You have to identify that point A or your foundation and be honest with yourself. And that's sometimes, or more often than not, the hardest thing for a lot of us to do, because it may expose a side of us that we don't want to acknowledge. But The only way, like you said, Jim, to grow through that and to improve that is to give yourself that baseline and then go, what can I do to improve this? And whether it's, we have access to so much information now just on your phone, like to change things. So the only reason, as you said, Jim, why you're maybe living paycheck to paycheck or you're in certain situations is because you're choosing to, right? You're not choosing to get out of it. And it's hard to accept and it's hard to swallow that sometimes. I know I struggled with that from even now as I'm trying to work out how to invest my money and what those next steps are. I've just ignored it for such a long time because I'm like, I'll just get super wealthy and that'll be fine. But, as you were saying before, one thing I wrote down was like that most people are doing it for liberty, right? They want the choice, the freedom to do what we want. Very hard to do that if you're constantly always committed to something that doesn't sort of serve that plan, right? You have to improve your financial IQ so you can have multiple things working for you. So if you do want to have a day off or an afternoon off, like you're not just doing it at from a savings account, you get to do it while still having some stuff coming in. Well, at least that's the way I am looking at things now.
You talked about the investing part and the $10 and people are afraid to lose it. You'll spend 30 or 50 bucks every single month and pay for a gym membership, and half people don't even go to the gym, but they continue to pay that every single month. But if we go, like here, we have a place called Vegas. I mean, you know what Vegas is.
Yep.
Most people who go to Vegas, what they say is I have $500 to lose or I have $1,000 to lose. So they've already set themselves up to lose the money before they've gone. And casinos know this. I lived there for 10 years. And the best question I ever got was, hey, where's the best place to go to win money? I'm like, go look at the Strip. Do you think those casinos are built on winners? They're not. They're built on losers. That's how that works. But aside from that kind of gambling, yeah, investing's scary and it's a gamble. But if you always hang out in that fear and say, oh, I might lose this or I'm going to lose this, first off, you're setting that wheel in motion mentally. And I think what you put out there mentally, it goes out into the universe. And the universe is going to deliver what you put out there every time. So change your mindset about that when you're investing. Yeah, go into it smart, eyes wide open, know what you're getting into, but know that you're going to win at that it's going to turn into something and not that, oh, I'm so afraid I'm going to lose this. And I kind of worked so hard to get it. And that you got to change your mindset. But again, that's all back to programming about money from when you were a kid. Your parents might have told you, oh, you got to save that money because you never know when a rainy day is going to come. Well, how much do you need for that rainy day?
What are some of the best ways you believe, or even from your own journey, like reprogramming that mindset? What were some things that you did to change those beliefs around money?
Retirement income comes first. Before I start spending any money on anything during the year, I make sure I fully fund any retirement that I can fund. And every opportunity that I can fund that, whether it be my 401k, or you guys probably have something similar in there.
Superannuation, similar, maybe.
Yep. You can open an IRA. You can open a Roth IRA. Any place you can save money and save it tax deferred, save that money first and make that a discipline. Like, that's not my money. That money goes first. I don't spend that money. I don't live on that money. I don't budget that money into my daily expenses. It comes out first. So any kind of money you can put away and put it away as quickly as you can. A lot of people spread that over the year. If you have the ability to put it away sooner, put it away sooner. Why? Because it starts working for you sooner. So I think that one is key. The second one is stop creating debt. Stop creating credit card debt. Stop creating, if you're going to finance a vehicle, figure out how you can finance a vehicle or what vehicle you can afford that you can finance it for the most 24 months. Go ahead and do that 5-year loan on it or whatever it is that they sell you, but figure out how you're going to pay for it in 24 months or less. And if you can't, then it's not something you should be financing to begin with because it's a depreciating asset. It doesn't hold its value. It's for whatever reason motivates you to buy a new car. Most people get in a new car and all of a sudden their car payment, by the time you get to the second or third one, their car payments are $500-800 a month. And when you go to the car dealership, all they're selling you is car payment.
Yeah.
They're not selling you a vehicle. What do you want your payment to be? That's the worst question on the planet. When they ask you that, don't answer it. Because they're driving everything from where do you want your payment to be? Well, no. How am I going to pay this thing off in 24 months? That's the question you should be asking yourself. And if you're carrying credit card debt, bring that credit card debt down and bring it down as hard and as fast as you can. But also, there are some people, I'm not pointing fingers, you got to have credit. You have to have a credit score. You have to have a credit card. I know it's an evil thing we all think. It's not. It's a tool. And if you use it as a tool and treat it as a tool, then it will work for you. You know, the higher your credit score is, the less money it costs to borrow money. And on big ticket items like mortgages and on investing on investment property mortgages, you want to borrow that money. You don't want to pay cash for that stuff. I don't know where you're at for interest there. In the United States, if you're living in the house, you're in the twos. If it's investment, you're in the three. You're under 4% on investment money in this country. You know, you want to borrow that money. It makes more sense to spread that over 30 years. And then the rest of your money, you keep working it on investments. You keep working it on, you know, if that, I'm not going to give you investment advice for sure. If it's stocks, great. If it's cryptocurrency, great. Whatever investment is working for you, then do that. If your buddy says, "Hey, I got this great tip. This cryptocurrency is going to double in the next 4 months." Yeah, that's nice. Do your homework. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Do your homework. Don't just take tips from people who are randomly handing you out tips. I mean, what do they know? They don't get that part. We operate from this it's so hard to explain. Financially, we operate from like, yeah, whatever happens, just, you know, we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
You got to get a game plan and you got to stick with it.
It's interesting you say that because I lost a heap of Bitcoin back in 2017. And it didn't deter me. It frustrated me, obviously, you know, with the price of Bitcoin now. But I got involved in that without doing any due diligence, right? I heard someone say, you know, this is a great opportunity, blah, blah, blah. And at that point in my life, I was like, yeah, I want to make money. That's perfect. And I know there's a lot of men at this stage in their life where maybe you haven't had money or you see these opportunities and use cryptocurrency, obviously with what's happening in that space at the moment. It seems like it's a get rich quick sort of thing. And if you ever take that mindset, this is one thing I've learned from experience. If you're taking that approach into anything, you're a fucking idiot and you deserve to lose the money that you'll probably learn. It takes time. It takes a lot of research to minimize your risk, right? As you were saying before, Jim, everything has risk, but you can do things to minimize that risk, right, for yourself. And everyone's risk tolerance is different. So making sure if you do get a tip from someone, awesome, thank them, but then go do extra research to find out whether that's something that you're willing or prepared to part way with. But one of the riskiest things that I see a lot of people doing, and I was guilty of doing for however long I had money, let's say up until I was 24, was I was just blowing money on drugs and alcohol. And whenever someone said, "Hey, how about you look at this event, or, you know, you could get into property or this, that, and the other," I was like, I don't have any money. Meanwhile, I was spending hundreds of dollars every weekend on things that weren't adding value to my life. And it goes back to, Jim, as you were saying before, like, do your research. So that phrase that I heard, investigate to invest. Maybe you're not ready to invest just yet. Maybe what you need to invest in is learning how to invest, maybe doing a stock market course or a real estate course or something like that to actually just understand what is going on. So that sort of...
Absolutely.
Sorry, you go.
There's tons of professionals out there too that will talk to you any day of the week. I mean, there are financial advisors out there. There are people who do that for a living, you know, so many things. If you're just starting back to working out, if you're just starting to work out, you're going to go in the gym and start just immediately working out. No, you're probably going to get a trainer. You're probably going to get somebody who can guide you on it and tell you how to do it.
Yep.
And the same thing goes for finances. If you put as much effort into your financial training as you do into your physical training, you'd be amazed at what's possible. If you can get that mindset wrapped around finances. And I tell you, it's just as easy. You're probably sitting back saying, "Oh yeah, that's so much easier than it sounds," and blah, blah. No, it's not hard. We just decide it's going to be hard so we can keep our beliefs and our system in place about money. And, oh yeah, it's hard and it's difficult and only rich people, whatever your beliefs are, we do anything to reinforce that. And I'm telling you, blow that up. None of that makes any sense. None of it's right. Everything you believe about money is completely wrong because it all revolves around scarcity.
I think it like going back to that fitness example and everything else, when we don't have something that we really, really want, we think it must be the most complicated because generally we're already doing a lot of stuff to try and achieve it and it's not working. So we're like, I must have to add, there must be something missing. I must have to add something when, as you said, Jim, it's fundamentally quite simple. what we need to learn to do is really let go of a lot of the clutter and crap that's going on around it and just learn to do those things really, really well.
Yeah. Back to the whole thing. You want to know what you're committed to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw myself under the bus. All right. About 2 weeks ago, somebody in my office is on a big diet, right? So I turned around and I stepped on the scale in their office. Okay. That second number was higher than I've seen it since I was 28 years old. In the States, it's pounds. And I'm like, I topped 190 pounds. And I'm like, holy crumb. First off, I hadn't been on a scale in probably 9 months, maybe a year. Second, I was just in horror that I was at that weight, that I was, because I'm carrying an extra 25 pounds right now. I can whine and complain about it, which I do all the time. And what am I committed to? I'm committed to 192 pounds, 100%. How do I know that? Because that's my result. And until I accept that and get comfortable with that and say, okay, it is what it is. This is my point A. What is my point B? Okay. Now I've got a group of people around me that's going to support me to get to my point B. So I took the first step. I surrounded myself around like-minded people. May not have the same goals, may not come from the same backgrounds, but we all have we're all trying to better ourselves. So I've surrounded myself with like-minded people now. And when we were talking earlier, I need my game plan. So I need to write down my game plan. I need to really analyze it, look at my goal and see what that looks like. I know I can do it because I can do anything I set my mind to. That's a cliche I love, but it's true. It's been true my whole entire life. So we all have our stuff, but we all have stuff we're really good at. And if we look at the stuff we're really good at, I'm the bottom denominator. I'm always there. I'm always part of the game. It's mine. So why not take what's working in that and say, okay, if that level of commitment is working here and I have this discipline with it there, incorporate that into this other part of my life and make it easy and make it fun. Don't make it a chore. Don't make, oh my God, I got to go work out. No, I don't want to do that. I got to look at my finances. I got to write down exactly where I'm at right now. I don't want to look at that. Again, take the time to do it in your own space, in your own privacy. That way, the only person that's going to judge is yourself, because we always judge ourselves, But honestly, it's all about getting clear on where we are, what's point A, being good with it, and then we can move and go someplace else.
Definitely. So, gents, as you're listening in, maybe even pause and actually finish the episode, but get out a notepad. Don't use your phone because I guarantee you'll get distracted, but grab a notepad after this and just sit down for 30 minutes and get clear on where you're at. As Jim was saying, find out what your income is, what your expenses are, any assets or liabilities that you own, where your sort of strengths are around money, or what your beliefs are, around money, and, what you need to sort of change in order to improve upon that. And, another thing you just touched on there, Jim, was you were saying even with the fitness part, you changed your environment, right? You started surrounding yourself around like-minded people. The same goes for improving finances. If you're hanging around people who have similar money stories to you, maybe you want to, get out of your comfort zone. And this might highlight a new skill, which might, for me, one thing that I really wanted back in 2013 was to hang around people who were financially successful. I was hungry as hell for that. That's what I wanted. And the moment that I got, because I got, for me, the first part, Jim, was network marketing, right? And obviously you see they're always flashing their checks around and everything, but I saw the people who were successful in that. And for me, I was like, okay, I need to hang around the 7-figure earners. But what I learned was they were the most generous. Like, this is where my money story started changing, because I thought they're going to be real selfish. They won't want to deal with me, But they were the most care, as much like yourself. I know you're an extremely busy person, but here you are giving myself and the Man That Can community your time and knowledge, with no skin off your back, which is incredible. But this is what I started to realize, that I needed to change my stories. I needed to give more than I was expecting without receiving, essentially. And then by spending more time around them, I got to start understanding more about their beliefs and the physiology and the way they acted and conduct themselves and how they saw the world, essentially, with more opportunity than otherwise. So, surrounding yourself with like-minded people and changing your environment to sort of raise your standards up to theirs is such a powerful and probably underutilized resource, really.
For sure. What we have a tendency to look at people around us that are in better shape than we are, financially, physically, or whatever, and compare ourselves to a peer group above ourselves and feel bad about ourselves. And yet we hang out with people who are have the same bad habits, or have the are stuck in that same place because it's comfortable and it's what we know. It's when you start to surround yourself with people who you want to learn from, you know, who have actually created the result that they want, because that's the best place to learn that. And you'll find that most people in that situation are happy to share that with you. You know, nothing's the team that we built here around us. Nothing is better for me than seeing these people on my team succeed, seeing these people absolutely crush it and have a better life than they had the year before, and then in 2020 have a just spectacular life, you know, because they put their nose to the grindstone and they worked their butts off all year long because they saw a lot of opportunity, and they surrounded themselves with other people that were all doing the same thing. It's awesome. We move as a team. We move as a unit here at Cardinal, especially my office. You know, we use Google Hangouts. I don't know if you have it or not. If you don't, it's absolutely brilliant. And if anybody's got a question about anything, we throw it out there to the group, and everybody jumps in and helps. Nobody's out to cut anybody or to get anybody. We're all in it together to win it together. And if you surround yourself with that kind of team of people, you'll be amazed at what's possible. It changes its paradigm shift. There's no question about it.
That's it. And working as a team, especially, like, obviously life is full of highs and lows. Same with business, same with all of those components or areas of life. So if you're around a equally motivated team and supportive team on a day that you may be having a dip because you might not be getting the results that you want, or you may have got a bill, or, you know, jumped on the scales and you're hitting 190 pounds, like, if you're around a supportive environment, they're going to help pick you up and continue, empower you to continue doing the things that you know you need to be doing to change that. And often it's
for sure.
Often we can have those moments where we go, shit. And as you said, you link it back to a reason why you shouldn't be worthy or anything like that. And we can shut down, right? We can turn away. And obviously that's going to have that negative ripple effect into maybe your finances or your relationships or your health. So it's really important to have that support crew walking the same path with you, because we all know life's going to get tough at some point, and we need the right people there to help us through that. So what do you see? May have touched on this, but like the biggest financial, actually, no, we've sort of touched on that one, but obviously, you know, COVID happened and you touched on that before, but what have you noticed? And, you know, you went through 2008 as well. But what do you notice a lot of the winners do to I guess, capitalize and continue growing through moments like this? Because obviously it's probably would be the same in the States, where it's been painted as doom and gloom, and, you know, businesses are shutting down, this, that, and the other's happening. But you're on the other end here saying you've quadrupled your business. So obviously I would say you're, you know, doing really well in that situation. So what have you personally done, and what do you see other people who are thriving through this current climate doing? Because the gender who asked the question was like, it'd be cool to know this, so that through other downturns in life, it'd be awesome to have that understanding moving forward as well.
So years and years ago, I had a friend, her named Sue, and we worked together. And I remember, I don't know why this always stuck with me, but she told me, she said, you know, I always have $10,000 in the bank. It's just super important for me to have that. And for some reason in my life, I always hear her say that, you know, it just always have. And finally, one day I figured it out and paid all my bills down. You know, still got mortgages, but paid all my other bills down, stopped creating new debt, and started putting cash in the bank. Just, you know, enough to have, you know, 6 months reserves, whatever it took. You know, if I didn't have income coming in for 6 months, can I survive without tapping into long-term savings, things like that? And once I got that, then it started motivating me to put more in the bank. And what it's done for me in the last couple of years is I've had some opportunities to buy some land, buy some different real estate. And it's nice to be able to have an opportunity come up and be able to seize on it and be able to just say, okay, I don't have to go try and borrow this money. You know, I can write a check for that. If I see that opportunity rise, I can write a check for it, instead of saying, okay, how can I get into debt to make money to do this kind of thing? You know, so if you'd be amazed at what happens once you get your finances together, once you really start figuring out where you're going. Then when opportunities present themselves, you can seize on them. You can take advantage of them. That's been one of my biggest wins. And to this day, I thank Sue for that, because I always had that mentality in my head. Yeah, I've always got to have X amount of money in cash sitting in the bank, doing nothing, just sitting in the bank in case I need to tap into it. It's there. And it's weird. The times I have tapped into it because I've needed it for whatever reason, it's like all I can do to get out and work harder to see if I can earn some more money, just to put it back so I can say, okay, cool, I feel better now because that's back in the bank. But that's just my own personal benchmark of what, it needs to be there no matter what, So the, there were a lot of opportunities in 2018, 2019, 2020 in the United States because the economy was doing so well and the stock market was doing so well. So had you have invested your money into long-term retirement, people in the United States saw 30% returns on their investments over those couple of years. And even if you didn't have but $10 or $15 or $20,000 in your 401k, you saw exponential growth in it because you were set up for it, because you put money in it and it's money you don't touch. So I can't reiterate enough. You got to get rid of the petty debt. You got to get rid of the credit card debt. People are swimming in it, and it's just because they don't understand it. They don't understand what they took out to begin with. That tank of gas that was $30 is going to end up costing you $400 by the time you pay it off. It's credit cards are not for long-term debt. It's a tool. It's a tool to raise your credit score, and it's a tool for short-term purchases, period. I think that is the biggest, I'm back on that mistake again, but I think that's the biggest thing people have to get under control. We also have a massive problem in this country with student debt. And I don't know if you guys have that over there or not, but all student debt did in this country was put a bunch of kids in debt real deep and make college tuition rise really bad because money was available for colleges to charge.
It's wild like that. And that's probably another thing why I wish this sort of stuff, financial education, emotional intelligence, was taught at school, because there's a lot of people leaving school and they aren't really clear on who they are as an individual and what they're sort of wanting to do moving forward. So, college is an option, and the amount of people over here that don't even use the degree that they've put themselves in debt with is insane. And
yeah,
once again, that's probably going back to that investigate before you invest. Like, college is an investment. So maybe, and especially now with access to so much information on our phones and podcasts and even having conversations, like, why not do a year of just trying different things to find out what really piques your interest and then dive into it the year after? I think we feel like we need to, and you probably experience this, Jim, with the people that you work with. We compare ourselves and go, oh, if I don't have the house and all of this sort of stuff by the time I'm 30, I'm well behind. I'm a failure. And then if you don't have the nice car, and this goes back to what you were saying, people buy maybe a car that they probably can't afford just to keep up with an image or something like that. And for myself, I sold our car. Like, I don't need one. I don't want one for the ego. I just also know that I'm better off keeping the money in other things.
Yeah, sure. And I guarantee you, 4 months into that payment on a car, you're going to hate having the payment.
Yeah.
The ego part of the car is gone. Once in a while somebody sees you and you look really good driving it, but not nearly enough for the payment, the price you're paying for it every single month. The other thing about a point A and writing everything down, you can clearly see at that point if what I'm doing right now and the job I have right now, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Can I get out? Or is it always going to be negative? Is it always going to be, am I always going to be going in the red every single month? Because here's the thing. You can do one of two things. At that point, you can reduce your debt if you have the ability to, or you can make more money. It's not a really difficult formula, okay? Either I've got to learn how to make more money, get a better job, work harder, get a second job, whatever it needs to do. I got to make more money, or I have to stop spending money. Because here's another really good friend of mine. He was in his 70s now. Told me, he said, once you retire, all you are is a spender at that point. You don't earn anymore. The only way you can earn money is on investments. You cannot work to earn anymore. The physical part of it eventually will go away. So how many years left do you have to do that? In your case, you have quite a few. But those quite a few, trust me, go really, really fast. and so many people end up working into their late 60s, early 70s because they have to, not because they want to, but because they have to. Is that really long term where you want to go? So once you get your point A, you'll know where you're headed, and you'll know what's real at that point. Because I guarantee you, I would say 80 or 90% of the people listening to this podcast don't know their point A. They don't know where they truly are.
That's you just touched on that. One of the reasons why I'm so focused on improving this area of my life, because as you touched on, there will come a point in time where maybe you can't work for whatever reason, or you just choose to retire, and then you do become a spender. So I'm so committed to doing whatever it takes to have a certain amount of investments that are paying me passively. And I know I can't just go out and do that yet. I need to learn first what that looks like, the ways that people do that, the risks involved. And, obviously you learn a lot through doing as well. But I also know how hard I work for my money. I don't just want to toss it away. But the goal moving forward, and this is once again why it's important to have a vision, is like by the time I'm 55, I want to have X amount coming in passively. So that's a goal that I'm sort of looking to work towards. And as you sort of touched on, at one point in my life, we're going to become a spender.
What's your goal? Can I ask that?
Yeah.
How much do you want to have coming in monthly?
In a month or annually? I want to have 200,000 in passively.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old are you?
29.
29. So you got about 26 years.
Yep.
So have you asked Dr. Google? I love to call it Dr. Google, by the way. Have you asked Dr. Google what inflation is going to do and what that $200,000 a year is going to be worth in 26 years?
I haven't, no.
Might be a question you should ask.
Yeah. So one of the things, sorry. Okay.
You have a number in mind, but you don't know if that number's enough.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's too much.
Well, yeah. So myself and my fiance, we have a meeting on Tuesday, which I was telling you about. And so my goal, obviously the ballpark figure without any of those questions answered for me was 200K. That'd be nice. And my missus was like, nah, 400. I was like, well, depends on what that actually looks like. So there'll be some questions that hopefully, and I'll run those questions by you once I finish to see if there's any others that I should get clear on. But I think it's important as well, and I appreciate you asking that for everyone listening. We've all got our starting points, and I've focused since 2014. I've really, really focused on earning multiple six-figure business, right? Because I was like, that's going to make me wealthy. That's going to set me up for the life that I want. But it's also a fair bit of smoke and mirrors, because as you were saying there, Jim, you either got to decrease your spending or increase your earnings to find that, I guess, to allow yourself to live the life that you want. And I have very low expenses because I choose to keep it that way. But I also know that, there's days where I just love to have the opportunity or the choice to go, you know what, today I'm just going to surf all day and I don't have to make all the sales calls, or I don't have clients and stuff like that. And that's where that choice comes in. And I realized that I can't just do that. I could on a bank balance, but I always love to see things ticking over, because I want to have wealth for my children when they come and all those sorts of things. So that's sort of where I'm at and how I'm thinking about it. I just know I got a lot of work and education that has to back that up.
Right. You have the drive for it, which is really, really awesome. You just, I think, need to be really clear on what your needs will be at that point. What exactly. Another one of my neighbors next door just got on Medicare here in the United States because he turned 65, him and his wife.
Yep.
I was blown away to find out that they were each paying like $1,500 a month based on his income from previous years. That him and his wife each have to pay $1,500 a month. That's $36,000 a year for like the first 2 or 3 years going on Medicare. Yeah. So I don't know how it works where you are, but in this country, you pay your Medicare premium to Medicare in the first several years when you first retire, based on how much money you made.
Yeah. So
I love it. It's a first world problem, making a lot of money. You end up having to pay more money when you retire. So do you guys have state-run health, or is health individual there?
We have Medicare over here as well. So we have private and public healthcare, which works well.
Yeah. Find out what that's going to cost. That'll be your biggest expense when you retire.
Yeah. Well, I still pay for private, which at the moment is like $40-something a fortnight, which I'm happy
What's
with.
A fortnight?
Every second, bi-weekly.
Okay.
Funny, everyone listening. So Jim's recently joined our Inner Circle program as well. And this morning, a lot of us lads were speaking, I guess, in what you would say Aussie slang. And we're putting out a few sentences there for Jim to get his head around. And some of them I didn't understand either. A few of the lads had a deeper understanding of the Aussie slang language than I do, but it's very interesting. But we'll wrap it up there because I understand you're a busy man. But, for those who would like to, and especially those who are listening in America, reach out to Jim and, I'll put all his details in the show notes, the ones that he's comfortable with you guys reaching out to him from. But I know those who are fortunate to, or who have invested in themselves to be a part of the Inner Circle program, Jim's in there as well. And every week someone's going to get partnered. We all get partnered with each other, and the opportunity to learn a lot from everyone in the group is awesome. But obviously with Jim in there as well, if you have more questions around anything that's been discussed today, reach out to Jim in the group as well. But Jim, are you okay with people reaching out to you, whether it's on, I don't know, what social media sort of stuff, or is there anywhere I could direct people to?
Yeah, I'm real easy. First off, I'm Jim Mora, JIMMORA. You can go to jimmora.com and you can find me at The Real Jim Mora just about everywhere else, like on Facebook, on Instagram. And you can also just Jim Mora on Twitter, JIMMORA.
Epic. I'll make sure they're all attached in the show notes. But Jim, once again, thank you so much for your time. I've taken a heap of notes and I can't wait for everyone to get out of this and get some gold nuggets out of this. As mentioned, guys, you can check the show notes and connect with Jim and reach out and ask any other questions. Or for those who are, like I said, in the Inner Circle, connect with him directly there, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to help. Thank you so much for your time, mate. I truly appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Make sure you please hit like, subscribe, and share the episode. And if you've got a spare 90 seconds or you love the episode that much, you'd love to leave a review, it would mean the world to me if you could take the time to do that, because it does help more people see the value that these episodes have to give. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I look forward to connecting with you all in the Facebook community, The Man That Can Project. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachie Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.